Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Boozer here. Hope you guys are doing well. Today's video I'm kind of inspired to make after reading the Raid Digest that was released earlier today. It's going to be a video discussing the current state of Raid, what I think the current state of Raid is anyways, and what the future looks like for this game, specifically in regards to how the owners of this game view the trajectory of this game. So what I mean by that is basically the aforementioned profit mode that Raid Shadow Legends is in currently, and what that means to the player base as a whole. We're going to dive into that in this video. Alright guys, thanks for joining me here. So this is what I mean by profit mode. So basically I've been looking at the annual reports. This is nothing new. These annual reports have been out since the end of 2022. And basically Aristocrat is the owner of the parent company of Plarium, and they obviously own Raid Shadow Legends, which is also part of a large portfolio of investments for that company. But this is directly from the annual statements. The annual statements are available to everyone. If you guys feel like reading them in the whole, you just Google search Aristocrat annual report. And here it is. It's saying Raid Shadow Legends as a world-class title moves into profit mode. So this is from last year. They said there was a decline in the mobile industry. Fair enough. It was probably a decline relative to COVID. When the COVID period was happening, people were probably all over their phones. So obviously revenues and engagement was just elevated. And then as soon as COVID started to wear off a little bit, then revenues have dropped, but Raid is still extremely profitable and have exceeded all expectations for Aristocrat, their parent company, but they have acknowledged that it's going into profit mode. So in another annual report, they said that they expect mobile games to be roughly 4 to 8 years in terms of their overall lifespan. So in this case, Raid Shadow Legends, being a 4-year-old game, is about halfway through its expected lifespan. So it's entering roughly the second half of its lifespan, so approximately 4 years. Of course, it can exceed or be less than 4 years, but based on how Raid is doing currently, I expect it to be more than 4 years. So whatever I'm talking about here in the present and future, think about it in a 4-year timeline. So think what Aristocrat is thinking about Raid. They're saying that it's in profit mode. What does that really mean to the regular Joe player, right? Well, we'll talk about it here. So in 2023, we have seen a lot of things Plarium has done, and it's really geared when you think about this part, when it enters profit mode, and you think about what they have done. It really makes a lot of sense, especially compared with previous years. So this is the Raid Digest part that I was just reading that kind of prompted me to make this video. It's basically saying that there's going to be new points available for these various things: victories in Sand Devil, victories in Iron Twins, victories in Shogun's Grove, victories in Live Arena, obtaining perfect souls, and ascending artifacts and accessories. All these are super late game, super extra areas in the game where it's just not going to affect 99% of the player base, but these are huge spending areas. Obviously, like obtaining perfect souls, like that's a huge spending area. So after reading that, this just seems to me like it's a very money driven kind of incentive for people to go for as another option for CVC to generate, obviously generate more revenue. We noticed that Plarium has been offering tons of events, 1+1 events, guaranteed events, all sorts of events, multiple, like we've had weekends where every day was a 2x event. 2x events are not even anything anymore. They're just the standard. We're like looking at all sorts of events. There's events going on every week in terms of shards. So if you really pay attention, they're definitely upping their shard events. I mean, it's fine, it's good because you don't have to participate in every one of them. So it's, in the end, those are better for the player base, but we definitely see more avenues of revenue generating from Plarium just on a regular basis. They've also brought Live Arena, which is another end game content, which requires full rosters, geared out, obviously, end game content that just encourages or incentivizes outspending in terms of getting champions, stronger champions, better gear, and so forth, similar to Arena, Platinum Arena. Yeah, so that's another end game content. And then we have the Forge Pass, which seems to be a very regular thing now. So it's just another monthly revenue generator. Of course, it helps players as well, but it's another thing that they have done to pad their profits. Another thing that I've noticed, of course, I think everyone has noticed, is with the frequency of fusions. That's not that uncommon. The frequency of fusions always happens, but the inflation, or the way we call it is inflation, or the way we accept it is inflation, because it's not actually inflation in the game, because we're actually not getting that much more resources to cover the inflation in the in the events. But the inflation of the points is absolutely ridiculous. They are making all-time highs basically ever, like every other or every fusion. Like, there is some kind of new total that they are testing the player base to see what is acceptable. In the most recent fusion for Nut, the last champion chase, basically the last gate that blocks you from the fusion, is a champ chase that basically was like about 25% more points than what you would expect from a regular champion chase for a fusion. Yes, Nut is a great champion, but this is a big increase, a big ask, and obviously driven by profits. And this is just one piece of the puzzle. You guys all know artifact enhancement events have been growing steadily. They're much more expensive than they were at least a year ago. Dungeon Divers has grown as well, and it's just been ridiculous. So it's definitely inching in that direction, that things are getting, the ask per event is much more nowadays. So moving on, Plarium has created 2 new dungeons, Sand Devil's Necropolis and Phantom Shogun, in 2023. Both of these are super endgame content. You don't really do them unless you're like basically at the edge of 6-star legendary gear. You can't really improve too much from farming, so then you try to improve your current gear by farming Sand Devils and Shogun. Yeah, this just basically pushes the bar of gear to another level, and it pushes your need to farm for better gear to another level. It basically extends the life of all the farming in this game. So at some point, I'm sure players have said, hey, I'm done farming, I'm done buying gear because I whaled out, blah blah blah. That's it, I don't need to spend any more. But with the invention or the inclusion of these 2 dungeons, that bar has been set at like much higher, not like double high, it's like extremely high, like 10x high, I would say, because the ability to basically like get better ascension rolls on top of insane gear is just obscene. So they helped us out by, hey, adding hard level dungeons. That's new content, right? 10 levels of hard level dungeons allows us to drop mythic gear, another power creep on gear. So this just extends the gear grind even further, extending the life of the game, extending the length of time, the money investment that a player would put into one account. It seemingly is endless with the gear. So moving on, they added another faction. This is the Sylvan Watcher faction. It's pretty new, so not too much going on, but yeah, they're just filling out classes. They're going to be more champions, gives them more creative freedom to add more stuff. Sure, that's fine, that's cool. It also dilutes the pool, which makes it harder to get certain champions. And they haven't really added too many ways to get certain champions that you want. So having a diluted pool for champions that you still want or need, you're kind of out of luck. That just means you're spending more money to try to get the champion that you want, or you just never get it. I mean, you might never get it anyways, even if you spend money. So it's tough. And then finally, they've added blessings. The whole blessing system to me doesn't make any damn sense. It's heavily skewed towards endgame players with 6-star perfect souls. on their champions, where they get huge scaled bonuses at 6 stars. There's huge incentive to get 6-star bonuses. That's fine. That's fine. Not everyone needs blessings. Not every champion needs blessings. PvE does not need blessings to be done. PvP is where these blessings come into play the most, obviously. And I would imagine PvP is where people spend the most money. Makes sense. Okay, so that's what they've done. As you can clearly see, all of this that they've done in 2023 is basically just extended the game, basically pushed the bars of the game further, increased player champion pools. So increased champion pools requires you to buy more shards, pull more shards during more events. They've increased the gear grind, the bars for the gear grind, which means you have to stay in the game longer, spend more money to buy packs, spend more money to buy energy, farm more, etc., to increase your strength in gear. And then at the same time, they've diluted the gear pool with more gear from Forge Pass, which is fine. And they've also increased the fusion ass and events for the regular player to entice regular low or non-spenders to spend money to complete these fusions. So all of this to me points heavily towards trying to maximize the money made from their player base, which again is fine. I understand they're a company, but it is becoming very obvious that they are in this mode, profit mode, when you are aware that they are in this mode. I know it could be confirmation biased, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it too. All right, so let's see what they will be doing in the near future and see how that translates into their plan currently. All right, so what's next for Raid? This is the immediate stuff that I see that is coming up next for Raid, and all of it screams to me like profit mode. They got Hydra Clash coming. It's another CVC event. Basically, we're going to have 2 CVC type events in a week, and then we're going to have 1 rest week for normal CVC. But we're going to be having these Hydra Clash. So I don't know exactly what this Hydra Clash is going to look like, but it's going to be damage based from Hydra, your Hydra teams as a clan. I don't know how you're going to get rewards, but the rewards are going to be incredibly important for anyone doing PvP content, because they will drop the accessories for stone skin and protection gear, and I assume other things which will be sought after. So it's in your best interest to basically go crazy on your Hydra teams and try to produce the best results possible. This means obviously investment and gear acquisition and champion acquisition. So it's just another way to pump big cash. Obviously you want the ascensions from the accessories and the Shogun, so it's just an endless grind. So Hydra Clash, to me it's just a massive second level of CVC. It's going to be a big profit generator. And what's next? They're going to be doing the hard dungeons. I assume they're going to do 25 hard for all available dungeons. So right now the cap is 10 hard dungeon. I'm going to say they're going to bump it to 25 within the next year or two, maybe a year, assuming that the game lifespan is 4 years, maybe 2 years. Within 2 years, they'll have 25 hard on all the dungeons. Even, in my opinion, even Sand Devil, even Shogun's Grove, they're going to have hard 25. And that's just going to push the gear grind. That's just going to push your champion levels. That's going to extend the life of each player. And yeah, it's just more ways to make money. Of course, there's more content too, but who's the content really for at that point when it's so difficult? Hopefully they throw some bones to the early game players, to the low spenders, to keep them in the game, keep them interested, keep this game afloat. Because this game doesn't exist without the early game or free to play or casual players, right? It's not all just about catering to super end game players. Yes, they do contribute a large amount of money to the game, but at the end of the day, super end game players that spend a lot of money, they basically want to beat up on the guy that has less. So you might feel good about that, right? So of course you have to keep the casual and free to play players still around. Moving on, so we're looking at Ultra Nightmare Hydra eventually. I would assume this comes very soon. I would assume it probably comes within the next 6 months. Maybe the big update in December. I would say Ultra Nightmare Hydra. Maybe it lines up with Hydra Clash. I could see it. Especially with some of the champions nowadays, like the Nut Fusion, Acrizia, some of the gears, Live Arena bonuses. They're all boosting the damage up on Hydra. It's all setting up for Ultra Nightmare Hydra. Should be coming out pretty soon. That'll be my guess. Also, there is this new Hydra head. That was already previewed, maybe like a year ago. So they're previewing a 6th head or a 7th head. Sorry. So I think this is going to be the one. It's been showing up on all the pictures. I don't know what it looks like, what it could be. It's a lightning head. We can speculate. Maybe it gives speed buffs to itself. Maybe, I don't know, turn meter reduction or something. I don't know. Or maybe it does a stun. It looks like it has lightning or electricity. Maybe it's some kind of stun Hydra. I don't know. But anyways, we'll be expecting a 7th Hydra head probably pretty soon. Maybe in the big update with Ultra Nightmare Hydra. That'll be my guess as well. Moving along, next ways. The next thing they can do to monetize is this new clan boss. I would assume this new clan boss would come sometime in the near future. Not sure what it would drop, but it'll probably be another probably currency that they're keep pumping into the game. There's like endless amounts of currency in this game, mainly to confuse players. But yeah, this is just going to be another piece of cheese for us to chase, to re-gear and spend resources on gear acquisition and so forth. But this is going to be coming into the game, going to extend the game a little, extend the life of the game a little bit. And then next obvious step is currently we have legendary Chaos Ore. We'll be expecting mythic Chaos Ore eventually, and of course it's going to be insanely hard to get and probably insanely expensive if it's acquirable, because Chaos Ore is already extremely hard to get. So mythic Chaos Ore would be probably another level of that. And then finally, to wrap up the end of Raid Shadow Legends, there is one more faction banner available, and it's the last faction to complete all the alliances, to make it a nice even number for all the different factions. So there's going to be one more faction. We can speculate what it is. No real idea, but I would expect the timeline to be within 2 years. And then I would expect limited upkeep of the game for the remaining life of the game, I would expect. But who knows? It's all kind of speculation, but it's interesting to put all this stuff together and just talk about it a little bit and think about it, and how it really puts player in perspective as how they view the game, and gives us a little roadmap about what they're trying to do. Obviously they're trying to make money, but in the end it looks like this is the path that they will probably take in trying to make that profit. Anyways guys, hope you guys found this interesting. I hope you guys liked the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I might have missed some stuff as well. I mean, to me it looks very obvious that what they've done in 2023 really lines up with their profit mode mentality, and what's coming up next doesn't really look too non-profit oriented. I would say it's pretty end game stuff. So yeah, anyways, take it easy guys. Hopefully you guys like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.